Okay, so let's see how the inventory app works. I'm going to show you on the screen the inventory reconciliation app. We have a few modules here, but I'm going to concentrate this demo on inventory, audits, and WIP, and work in process. So for those of you who already have the app, just follow along. You may learn something new today. So what the app allows you to do is to backdate the evaluation report as of the month-end date. So what I could do, for example, if I'm going to uncheck this box here, I can go back to month-end and click refresh and get a clean report, a clean valuation report as of month-end. So a list of parts, quantity, and values as of that date. I can drill down to see the transaction details, so I can quickly see what happened in between. I can see the unit cost trend, so you can see these blue lines here show me if there was a huge increase or decrease in the part value over time. So that could be something that is causing a problem. If all of a sudden I have a huge valuation for a part and then that value changed over time drastically. So you may want to check the unit cost trend. What you can also do here is check sort by any column. So I can sort by the total quantity and see if I have negative on hand at month end. So, and I can drill down and I can check why that part is negative. Is it because I consumed it, so I issued it to a work order, I adjusted in some units, but they were not enough, or something happened in between? It also tells you the accumulated quantity. So it is going to tell you when the part reached to that zero quantity that we want to see if we don't have inventory, or the ending balance at the end of the period. You can filter by any of the columns. So if I want to see, for example, zero quantity with valuation, I can use the filters. I'm not sure if I have examples here, but let's say I want to see anything that is less than 0 or less and equal to 0. Okay, and then any valuation remaining in inventory. I can also filter here, or I can sort. So I can quickly see which parts are having certain anomalies. Now, once I did that, I clear or I fix these issues, now I can reconcile, and I'm going to click that box there, and I'm going to select the month and date. So depending on when the journals were prepared, we need to prepare journals, not post, but prepare, and refresh. So at that point, there are 2 more columns added to the main grid. You can see that now I have the inventory balances column and the difference column. So I can quickly see by using the filters here, any parts that have discrepancies. So I want to see parts that have discrepancies over $100 or minus $100. So in a few seconds, I have a short list of parts that I need to troubleshoot. And here, as I mentioned, there are different, like 4 cases. Either the part is negative, right? There is a mismatch layer in between. The inventory balances report is wrong, or I have a costed quantity issue. So what I need to do is drill down on the details. So in this particular case, for example, I have 995 units with a valuation that looks reasonable. I have an adjusting and an issue to a work order. The unit cost is reasonable. My valuation is fine. Is the balances report that is wrong? That summary table is not showing the proper data. So I know now the fix. I have to recalculate the inventory balances for that part, refresh the grid, and you should reconcile. You should have that part reconciled. If there is a mismatch layer, I have to go through the different valuation items. So for example, here there is a huge discrepancy, but it's a huge jump on the transaction unit cost. Well, but is that valuation okay? But I need to investigate why this unit cost is way higher than the other ones. Was it a manual input? Was it a mistake? So now you have all the items in your hand to be able to ask the right questions. Once the two reports match, the next step is to use the inventory balances by GL. So that tab will show you if the balances, the summary table matches now to the GL. And what I need to take into account here is the transactions or actually control accounts. I need to make sure those there are discrepancies. I need to investigate why. Is there a journal entry posted to the account that shows the discrepancy? Or a wrong type of journal, as I mentioned, the account used at the PO line level, for example. I can also drill down here and see what makes that balance. Is it a legit part ID in that inventory balance? And you can see the values broken down by component. So sometimes if we see a valuation there on the table, in the summary table, that doesn't make sense, a negative digit, it could happen, then that triggers another question and we have to dig deeper into it. Now, all of these screens can be exported to Excel, so you can just click on export to Excel and have your reconciliation working paper in Excel. Now, this is for inventory. If you happen to create some views, so for example, if I want to see I'm going to clear the filter here, and I want to see, for example, the evaluation by product code, I can just group by and get to know how much I have under each product code in inventory, and I can calculate consumption. I mean, there are many, many other features. There is no time to see this in details, but we would be happy to give you a more intense demo if you would like to see more. The audit section, as I mentioned, the costed quantity is a key one, and we have to monitor that frequently as well, just to make sure that there are no errors in the back end from that perspective. There are 26 audits here that you can use to keep your database healthy, the negatives at the location level, parts without product codes, missing masters, work order closed short. Sometimes those work orders has been manually closed, and that is not good. So things you need to review before you actually close your month. And from a WIP perspective, the app works very similarly as the inventory. So we can backdate the evaluation report as of the month and date. We can reconcile it to the balances report, as you can see on the screen, work order by work order. I can filter to check the differences. If there are discrepancies between the two, I can drill down to transaction details. So when you drill down, you can see all the transactions that were posted to that work order. If you see here that when I sort that there are work orders that have a negative valuation, when you drill down, you can see that the cost of the receipt is way higher than the sum of the charges. Well, that tells me that there could be some future dated transactions on that work order. Why? Because the receipt is a transaction that happened at a point in time. When visual costs, it summarizes all the charges, no matter when they happen. Visual does not look at that. No matter when they happen, it will book that lump sums into the work order receipt. So now in a period, my work order receipt is higher than the charges that were actually posted to that work order. Something you may want to take a look in this area as well are the partial receipts. Those could have an implication as well on the WIP valuation and depend on the settings you have in Visual. So there are different things you can review through this grid. Is a very quick way to get to the details and reconcile to the WIP balance report. It also has kind of a graphic interface here. You can see all the movement of the work order. You can create your own reports, as I mentioned, group by product code and create a chart with it. So there are different features. And of course, when you are done with comparing the valuation to the balances report, now we have the WIP balance by GL that will compare your GL balance to the GL account.